A letter from Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, and the sole NRP representative in the Nevis Island Assembly, has spurred Nevis's Premier Mark Brantley to explain to the public this latest development on the Nevis political scene. Premier Brantley, speaking on his On the Mark talk show, said Dr. Daniel Hodge made, quote, unfortunate remarks and insinuations, end quote, in her letter, including the accusation that he was attempting to suppress women. The new contention seems to have risen out of the Nevis Island administration's decision to close the office of the opposition that was made available to the lone opposition parliamentarian in the House as a matter of courtesy. Constitutionally, the NIA would be obliged to provide an office to the leader of the opposition, but the inability of the two elected opposition members to reach agreement on who would be leader resulted in the office having to be closed as the circumstances had changed, according to the Premier. Now the latest accusation by NRP's leader that the Premier is suppressing women has prompted his response.
So it really rankles for me when there's a suggestion that somehow we are trying to suppress women, when we are responding to chaos, crisis, and confusion created by the NRP, for the NRP, but which has implications beyond the NRP for the island of Nevis. And I just mentioned, for example, the Integrity Commission. How is that going to work now? Do we disband it now because Cleon and Janice can't get along? How is that going to work? And I want people now to start to really understand the implications of this confusion and this foolishness, to understand it. And I am not in any position to tell NRP what to do. What they do is their business. But I'm interested in Nevis. And I know when you're interested in Nevis and you're interested in serving the people of Nevis, their needs must be put ahead of your own. And sometimes you have to suppress yourself. It's like sometime in a family, if you don't have enough food, you must make sure your children eat, even if you go hungry. When you're in a leadership position, and here what they call it, servant leadership, you're the chief servant, you must ensure that your ambitions, your sense of power, your naked ambition is suppressed in support of the people that elected you. And you must do what is right for them. And that is what is lacking here.
Recently, the NRP executive took the decision to expel Representative Cleon Stapleton Simmons from the party, leaving NRP with only one seat in the Nevis Island Assembly. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
Former Prime Ministers Dr. Timothy Harris and Denzil Douglas have often been accused to be strong authoritarians by political opponents and some within their ranks. This is not unique, as other political leaders across the Caribbean, past and present, have earned similar titles. But for political analyst Peter Wickham, this trait may be exactly what has led to some of these leaders enjoying political longevity and some measure of success. A contrasting trait to current St. Kitts Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew, who has a more democratic consensus approach to leadership. In Mr. Wickham's estimation, having a strongman approach is something Dr. Drew would need to do to stave off political opponents and assure his longevity.
St. Kitts and Nevis is a peculiar political environment in that it is one of the smallest states in the world, quite frankly, with a population as small as it is, a voting population. The fact that a person who manages St. Kitts and Nevis has to manage St. Kitts and Nevis almost like a family business. And that's essentially what the successful leaders of St. Kitts and Nevis have had to do. That's what Dr. Douglas did. That's what Dr. Harris did. And I suspect that if Dr. Drew is not doing it yet, he will need to start doing it in relatively short order, or he will be toast.
In an interview with SK Newsline, Mr. Wickham pointed to political leaders in the Caribbean who did not have this strongman approach and have met their political demise.
Let me take you back to Barbados in 2017. Let's take you back to Barbados since 2010, quite frankly, when former Prime Minister David Thompson closed his eyes. We had a leader called Frondell Stewart. I could take you back to Grenada a few years earlier when there was a leader called Tillman Thomas. These two individuals are generally renowned across the region as being the two worst that we have seen in recent times. And guess what? Both of those leaders had this kind of consensus approach to politics. So Frandl Stewart articulated a principle that said he thought the ministers ran the government, and he was willing to let them do what they had to do. We had a situation in Barbados where there was raw sewage flowing in the streets, and we were told that it is the responsibility of a minister who would have to take the lead in relation to the matter. The reality of the situation is, as much as we think that that is a good idea, the leaders that have practiced that style of politics have, generally speaking, been bad and have been unsuccessful.
In contrast, he said the Caribbean leaders who have been successful have had an aggressive, strongman and hands-on approach to governing.
You contrast that with a person like Prime Minister Motley, who is known to be the same kind of aggressive, hands-on politician that Denzel Douglas was, that Timothy Harris was, that Ralph Gonzalez is, that Keith Rowley is in Trinidad and Tobago, you know, Eric Williams, Barrow, I go back further and further, Kennedy Simmons. You find all of these leaders have that other characteristic, and, you know, Prime Minister Motley comes in and she cracks the whip, and you know, the sewage stops flowing, and there are things which start to get moving.
The full interview with Mr. Wickham can be heard on Voice of the Caribbean Radio by visiting the program's on-demand section of the website, www.voiceofthecaribbean.net. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romain Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no body.
Grand Masters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akai You Sweet, Greedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force is investigating a suspected suicide following a call for assistance at the residence of Mr. Oswald Elliott at Nevis Street, St. Kitts. The assistance request was made on May 23rd around 9 a.m. Upon entry, emergency services found Mr. Elliott inside and unresponsive. He was pronounced dead at the scene by the district medical officer. An investigation into the cause of death will be conducted. The police said it expresses condolences to the friends and family members and all others who have been negatively impacted by Mr. Elliott's sudden passing. Mr. Elliott is a highly respected former educator who taught at secondary schools in St. Kitts and the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. In a tribute from the CFBC, they described Mr. Elliott as a quintessential teacher who took great pride in being teacher trained. The CFBC said Mr. Elliott believed that no student should be left behind, as was reflected in his travels throughout St. Kitts, searching for students who did not complete school-based assessment task for Cape Communication Studies. Mr. Elliott was recognized with the Medal of Honor in 2020 for his indelible contributions to education. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The legislative enactment of a Smoking Designated Areas Bill 2023 is among 7 legislative bills to be read into Parliament when the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis meets on 25th May 2023. According to a government source, the Designated Areas Bill seeks to reduce public exposure to tobacco and other smoke by designating specific areas in public places for legal smoking. Attorney General Garth Wilkins spoke recently regarding the government's legislative agenda.
We hope to table at least 7 bills. I'm hoping to table 12, but my legislative drafting team is saying to me that I'm in overdrive, and I tell them that is my personality. I want to get things done. So I'm promising 7. I'm hoping for 12, and these will be important pieces of legislation that will eventually be debated in Parliament. In relation to the Good Governance Transformation, as you are aware, the Anti-Corruption Act, Integrity in Public Life Amendment Act, the Freedom of Information Amendment Act, and the Official Gazette Act, have been passed and gazetted. An acting ombudsman has been appointed and is seated in office. We are also seeking to recruit a special prosecutor as well as an information commissioner to sit in those important offices. And to complete that process, we'll be presenting to Parliament a Whistleblowers Act as well as an unauthorized disclosure of official information. That will hopefully close the circle so that we can spend the next few weeks educating the civil service, persons on statutory boards about their rights and responsibilities under this new paradigm of the good governance transformation that this administration is bringing to our country, and so that there will be no excuses when the switch is flicked. Everyone will understand their rights, everybody will understand their responsibilities, and we will, going forward in a sustainable way, in a transparent and accountable way, as has been promised by this administration.
Amendments to some acts are also to be proposed during the sitting. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Music's finest artists converge in Bastia from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romain Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no bodies.
Grandmasters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdal, Akayu Sweet, Greedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
Ah! What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She She will give you more than you can imagine.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton is adamant that resignations should be forthcoming from Minister of Education Priya Manikchan, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, and Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell following the Madia Secondary School dormitory fire, which claimed the lives of 19 children and left several others injured. Speaking on TV6 Trinidad on Tuesday, Norton pointed out that the responsibility to protect the children was placed squarely at the feet of the government since the state runs the dorm. In examining the issue, the opposition leader said one has to look at the building code and to what extent the Ministry of Public Works is enforcing them in construction of these buildings.
Now you have a dormitory where children would live in, and the information is that it was ill-equipped to be able to deal with the fire, the absence of fire extinguishers, no alarm systems. And then it is compounded by the fact that you grill this entire building up.
The opposition advanced that the fact that there was no mechanism in place to allow the children to exit the building in the event of disaster constitutes gross negligence on the part of the authorities. Norton said he was also saddened by the absence of health supplies in the region to deal with the injured children.
That again is a manifestation of not only negligence but incompetence on the part of the Ministry of Health.
The Madia Secondary School dormitory fire started late Sunday evening, and the government, in response, activated a full-scale medical emergency action plan. However, Norton noted that such a response should not have been needed. As the country mourns, the opposition leader said, "We must demand the highest standards," even as he calls for those responsible for the tragedy to be held accountable. Norton said the fire should not be politicized but be dealt with in an objective manner. A total of 59 girls were staying in the dorms, but only 56 were in the rooms when the fire started, since 3 had gone home for the weekend. 13 of the girls and a little boy died at the dorms, while 5 succumbed at the Madia Hospital. Of those injured, 6 children were medevaced to Georgetown in the wee hours of Monday, while 17 are in the Madia Hospital. The initial investigation of the Guyana Fire Service revealed that the fire was maliciously set. HGP Nightly News understands that the dorm was in a deplorable condition, as it had exposed wires, and only a few days ago, an electrician visited the premises and placed scotch tape on the exposed wires. It is also alleged that the dorm's caretaker had locked the girls and her son in the facility and went out at the time of the fire. The president has declared 3 days of national mourning in wake of the fire. Renata Burnett, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Scores of supporters, including government ministers and former associates of the main opposition New National Party, came together on Sunday to witness the start of a new chapter in the political career of MP Delma Thomas.
I say yes to work for the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Pidimatnik. I am committed to the people of St. Andrew Northwest. It has always been about you. Mr. Prime Minister, I say yes to work with you and your team. I say yes to Grenada. I say yes to women power. I say women rise up. Let no one keep you down. Let no one say you cannot do it. And so I have pledged my commitment to work with the NDC government as we move forward. As we move forward.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell encourages support for this new precedent-setting venture in the history of Grenadian politics.
You have my personal commitment and the commitment of the National Democratic Congress to make sure that we continue to include all Grenadians. And so there are others who are going through what Honorable Sister Delma Thomas is going through. And if you need someone to reach out to you, there are many of us who are willing to do so. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to look over the fence, to pick up the phone and call someone. We are here to support you. We are here to give you a home. We are here to give you a beating heart. We are here collectively to move Grenada forward.
MP Thomas has been the subject of widespread scrutiny, mostly by NNP members, over her decision to cooperate on a number of initiatives with members of the ruling NDC administration, which took office last June. Senator Gloria Thomas, who she defeated in the June 23rd poll, has taken what she describes as a bold step to reduce decisive politics that has plagued the country for many years.
So when I invited Sister Delma to work along with me, I did so with a view to make St. Andrews Northwest one of the most developed constituencies on the island. It was all about Northwest and trying to realize the vision that I had for this area of the country. As we campaign on transformation, I did not want transformation to be just a buzzword, but a reality, and this is why I took the bold step to attempt to reduce divisive politics that have plagued Grenada for over many years, for too long.
Senator Thomas added that if we are to be transformative, revolutionary, and dynamic in our outlook, we must not wallow in the way it used to be. Senator Thomas also called on the people of St. Andrew Northwest to put party colors aside and embrace the new concepts.
This is new. This whole idea of coming together in that kind of way from either side of the fence, it is new. It is different. This is away from the norm, and so we must be prepared to allow some time for some persons to come to terms with this transformative approach. Constituents all, no matter what side of the political divide you come from, it is our time to work together and develop our constituency so we can experience a better quality of life for ourselves, our family, and the future generation.
For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
Afternoon, we're coming on the air with breaking news in the music world. Tina Turner, the legendary rock and roll singer and performer, has died at the age of 83 after a long illness in her home near Zurich, Switzerland. Turner, born Anna Mae Bullock in 1939, was the daughter of sharecroppers in rural Tennessee before she became the queen of rock and roll, and even taught Mick Jagger how to dance. After years of performances across the South, she eventually rose to the highest levels of rock stardom. First as the electric frontwoman of the Ike and Tina Turner Revue, with her ex-husband Ike, but she also had massive success on her own with a slew of hits, including Private Dancer, The Best, and of course, What's Love got to deal with it. Let's go right to Rahema Ellis with the tales. Rahema, this cuts deep, this news.
It really does. There's so many people all around the world who loved Tina Turner. As you point out, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, and once with a husband and then as a solo artist. And this statement was posted from her official Facebook page about her death. It says, "It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of Tina Turner. With her music and her boundless passion for life, she enchanted millions of fans around the world and inspired the stars of tomorrow. Today, we say goodbye to a dear friend who leaves us all her greatest work, her music. All our heartfelt compassion goes out to her family. Tina," it says, "we will dearly miss you." She was a devout Buddhist and credits her religion with helping her to survive a turbulent marriage with Ike. And she went on and had an illustrious career, including the greatest of Tina Turner and her world tour that she had, the final tour some years ago. And it was an amazing performance. I had the pleasure of being able to attend one of those concerts at here in New York. And Tina Turner will be missed by so many people all around the world.
South Africa is known for producing wines, but not necessarily olive oil. Much of the production is in Cape Town, whose Mediterranean weather is ideal for growing olives. Now South African producers are sliding to the top and winning praises for the quality of their product at home and abroad. Tokara Wine and Olive Farm is one of such producers whose olive oil now graces some of the finest tables.
But in South Africa we also have a lot of people that are seasonal workers and harvest the deciduous fruit or the grapes, and having those people available and being able to employ them is a huge advantage for the South Africans.
The first South African olives were grown in the early 20th century by an Italian immigrant, Fernando Costa. At this vine bistro at Glenley Estate, originally specialized in wine, but now has oil as one of its flagship products and even offers tasting of it.
Well, I'm using only local olive oil. I don't use any imported olive oil. The quality of the olive oil we have locally is really good. It's very impressive. And why will I go and import or use imported oil from the other side of the world?
Olive oil is now becoming fashionable in several restaurants around the world from its sweet aroma. Here at the Van Bistro restaurant, they offer an Italian-style appetizer or simple bread dipped in olive oil.
I think it's become very fashionable in restaurants to have olive oil with your bread and you dip it. I think Italians do that, and maybe a bit of balsamic or not. That's really become very fashionable. And so it's really, and it's delicious. Look, you can drizzle it over fresh goat cheese also. It's in summer when it's the season.
A South African oil was in May awarded the absolute best olive oil in the world title at the prestigious Ovulium Awards in Spain.
There were victories from Molineux FC and Connery Fireballs International in SKNFA Division 1 action at the Newtown playing field on Tuesday evening. Connery Fireballs defeated Newton Ground 3-0 in the second match of the doubleheader. Goal scorers Orlando Mitchum in the 10th minute, Detroit Samuel in the 43rd minute, and Coral Hanley in the 88th minute. Coach of Newton Ground Kevin Gerald said the team lost because of poor finishing and not properly distributing the ball.
Basically combination play and support each other and finishing in the end.
Right. Over the last few weeks though, we're getting one or two good results. How would you put that in the whole context? I mean, tonight's result in the whole context of the last few results.
Well, we definitely wanted a victory, but we lost. So we gotta go back and do some more training sessions and come back for the next.
In the first match of the doubleheader, Molineux FC defeated KFC Trinity Challengers United 5-3. Goal scorers for Molineux, Ozzie Butte in the 3rd and 89th minutes, Chavez Jarvis in the 37th minute, Kadeem Watley in the 41st minute, and Junior Hodge in the 74th minute. For Challengers, goal scorers are Jody Walters in the 31st and 66th minutes, and Kama Mirage in the 49th minute. Round 2 action in the SKNFA Division 1 continues on Thursday in Keon, when Trafalgar Sound Stars play Davis Construction Lodge Patriots at 6 p.m. and Mantab taking on TGE Deer Bay Eagles at 8 p.m.